I'd like to share 3 blogs. I actually wanted to share these yesterday, but there were 2 technology issues yesterday. Yesterday was not a very good day to try to create YouTubes and do our broadcasts at stickm.com, but today's been a great day. I found a blog in the Harvard Business Review. Are entrepreneurs really more comfortable with risk? We've talked about risk many, many times. Is it a risk to start a business? Fortunately, when I got into business 40 years ago, I was too young and naive to stop and think about risk. Early in my entrepreneurship career, my grandfather told me that I would buy my father's business from my mother, who just coincidentally was his daughter, and I would pay her $10,000 for the business. So my grandfather told me that's what I was going to do, and that's what I did. I listened to my grandfather. It was the greatest thing I think that my grandfather ever did for me, was to make that demand, because it got me started in business, and I didn't have time to worry or think about risk. I was 24 years old. What risk does a 24-year-old have? And it was the turning point at the very beginning of my career. Thanks, Grandpa. Okay, are entrepreneurs really more comfortable with risk? This was a blog written by Deborah Mills Schofield in the Harvard Business Review. Deborah wrote this on September 28th of this year. Her opening paragraph: most people think entrepreneurs are willing to take on more risk than the average person. I've often wondered if that's really true. After almost 3 decades of working with large corporations and entrepreneurs, I've been working over 4 decades, I've developed a theory now. Now, this theory hasn't been vetted with controlled experiments and testing. It is based solely on experiential and intuitive ideas drawn from my experiences. What better place than to draw information and knowledge and share that than with personal experiences? For instance, I have 12 years of working with entrepreneurs as an early stage venture capitalist. She's a high roller, that I can tell you. As an early stage venture capitalist, business startups, they were small because they were just starting up, would come to her as a venture capitalist, share their business plan, their business idea, show what the future of that idea would hold and how they were going to do it. And she, as a venture capitalist, would say, okay, like your idea, I think you're the one that can make that idea work. I think that idea is going to make money, not just for you, but for me, the venture capitalist. I'm going to ask you for 40% of the money. That's one of my requirements. And I say, I don't know if that was exactly her deal, but typically venture capitalists will get up to 40% of money that comes back into the business, and an ownership position. And the other thing that venture capitalists do, which I never understood the concept until a couple years ago, when they invest in your business, and let's say you want $100,000, they're going to say, okay, what's that $100,000 going to do? How is it going to do it? and what's the expected return on resource investment of that $100,000. I think that that idea is going to generate $2 million. And boy, I'm going to be interested in that, because now my $100,000 investment is going to be worth $800,000 if you generate $2 million. Not a bad return on investment. Probably pretty close to the model that a venture capitalist would create. But not only do I want that return on investment, I want to know what you're going to do at the end of 5 years. That is called what is your exit strategy. A venture capitalist wants to know that if they give you money, not only do they expect a return of X number of dollars in X number of years, but they want to know, what are you going to do when you return that at 5 years. Typically it's a 5-year deal. That's what a venture capitalist does. So they are taking risk in you, in the business risk that you are taking, if it is a risk. So Deborah has 12 years of experience there. She's got 19 years working for a large corporation, Bell Labs and AT&T. Yep, large corporation. She probably lived in New Jersey. And consulting to their multinational, multi-billion-dollar customers. She also had 10 years of mentoring entrepreneurs and created a carve-out startup within AT&T. Okay, so she has a lot of experiences to really determine, is it a risk? Is there a risk factor? Three paragraphs later, she says, for them, risk isn't as defined by losing tangibles, income, benefits, stuff, as it is by losing intangibles, fulfilling a passion that won't let go, defining their own sense of purpose, stating their own curiosity, satiating their own curiosity, looking themselves in the mirror, looking at themselves in the mirror. Does that sound like the 3 Ps? Passion, persistence, and patience. Then she goes on to say, and this is the meat of her story, the difference here is between risking outputs and outcomes. Outputs, such as products and profits, are necessary and good, but they have their most profound effect when driving significant, palpable outcomes, like reducing chronic pain, creating a prosthetic leg for an Olympic runner. Those are products that were sold, investments that maybe she even made, I'm sure she did, as a venture capitalist, or inventing an application, an app, that eliminates a time-consuming task. Most of the entrepreneurs I've worked with gladly risk a few outputs for an outcome they believe in. Passion. Persistence. Okay, about risk. I read another blog that got my attention. The $100 Startup Entrepreneur. This individual is quite an individual. He wants to know what happens when you invest. Can you invest $1,000 and really make an impact? It's called bootstrapping. I can't read you his initial paragraph because it was not printed well. Can't read it. Talking about the startup entrepreneur, he asked the question. Eric asked the question in Entrepreneur Magazine or Entrepreneur Online. Eric Wagner, contributor. He says, are you in a slump again, aimlessly staring out your office window, knowing there is more to work and more to life than your current predicament. Listen, the time is now. No more fear. You can do it. You can overcome any fears you have about starting your own business. And he talked about Chris. Chris gives you many key guidelines on doing it, including these 3 gems that he shares, and I'm now going to share with you. Gem number 1, give them the fish. Karl Marx said, catch a man a fish and you can sell it to him. Teach a man to fish and you ruin a wonderful business opportunity. I love this quote. Never heard it before, but I love it. I've heard it many times. Now, please don't mix this up with philanthropy and giving back. Not the same thing. We're not talking about charity here. We're talking about business. Yes, for-profit business. The hard way to start a business is to fumble along, uncertain whether your big idea will resonate with customers. The easy way is to figure out what people want, what will bring value to their life, that's my words, and then find a way to give it to them. Number 2, the new demographics of your customers, we call them sociographics. Time to stop thinking of our customers as numbers. Don't create your mailing label. Create a precise targeted list and handwrite an address to that list. It's not about numbers, it's about individuals. The quality of your mailing list, not the quantity of it. Where did that come from anyways? Probably from the era of broadcast mentality, where we just sat there as consumers in a zombie-like state while commercial messages went into our brain and magically caused us to spend money. Those days are gone, my friend Eric Wagner tells us, and in its place, the concept of yes, treating our customers in our marketing efforts like real people. Call it persona or customer profiling or whatever, but treat them as real people. Understanding that the best target for someone who wants your product or service, you have to understand that, is their age, where they live, their sex or gender, their race, their income. Those were the old demographics. Things that you would go to a person who developed a list for direct mailers and say, these are the... I thought I lost you. These are the traditional demographics. The new ones are their interests, their passions, their skills, their beliefs, their values. Where do we find these kind of individuals? Well, yes, you find them on Facebook. Get that out of here. Wow. I don't know what I did. Hit the wrong button again. SmallBizDavid hits the wrong buttons. Find out their interests, find out their passions, their skills, their beliefs, their values. You can find it out in all the various social networks, social media. You certainly can find them in David's Barter community, because they will create a marketing profile. So when you come into the community, it's about talking about business, either your existing business and how to solve some of the problems you have in your existing business, or to talk about starting a business. Those will find out interests, will find out passions, will find out skills. Those are the things that you need to be targeting. Thank you, Eric Wagner, for that blog, that great blog. And the final blog I wanted to share with you today was from a story I got at the New York Times, in the New York Times. In an article by Joyce Rosenberg. She writes for the AP, the Associated Press. It was published 2 days ago. Starting a business in a tough economy taught entrepreneurs Chuck Tanowitz and Todd Van Hoosier the value of time. Essentially, I'm not going to really go into a lot of detail. It's a great story about two entrepreneurs who they didn't care what they were reading, that we are in recession, that you can't do business, that you can't do this, you can't do that, because we are in recession. My friends, it's a state of mind. Yes, things are different because people have a different state of mind. But what better time than to try to get that person's attention for what it is that you will bring to them with your new business idea, be it a service that you're offering, be it a new product that you have developed, be it any product that you want to sell. What better time than when people are so concerned about, oh, you can't do this because there's a recession? Hogwash! I've done the very best things I've done in my lifetime when people were talking how bad the times were. When they've got that mindset, what better time than to bring something positive to their lives? That's the value you can bring, bringing that something positive and not waiting for the headlines for somebody else to tell you how bad things are. Yes, that might be the data, but so what? People still need goods and services. So figure out a way to create something of value, some intellectual property that you have, and take it to those people. Now is the best time to start a business. Trust me on that one. Trust me on that one, because I am doing it. I'm not just talking about it. I'm doing it, and you can work with me and see what is working for me, and I'll tell you what is working for me or what isn't working for me, because that's how you're going to make something work better for you. My name is SmallBizDavid, and thank you for your time today. And we've gone over time. It's a great time, and for the next 90 days, come to David's Barter community, davidsbarter.com, and play the Entrepreneur's Fun game. It won't cost you anything to play the game for the next 90 days. But in playing the game, you'll get a feel for what it takes to start your business right now. We have tackled on two of the most important things that you have to deal with today when you start a business. Marketing, we call it social marketing, based upon my 40 years of experiences, or social network technology, based upon Curtis's working in internet projects for the last 13 years. He's been writing code for internet projects. We understand those two. Those are two things that if you want to start a business, you're going to have to deal with. We've made it simple for you. Our community has made it simple for you. Come in, try it out, make it work for yourself. And if it isn't working for yourself, starting tomorrow at 11 o'clock, it's now 11:30 almost, starting tomorrow at 11 o'clock or thereabouts, we will have a hangout on Google+. So hang out with me for an hour after that, where you can take the information that I just talked about and question me on it. Challenge me with it. I love challenges. Challenges are my passion. I'm not going to accept the challenge unless I truly believe that I'm going to bring a positive result to that challenge. That might be a challenge, and I will say, interesting, I don't think I'm the right one to do it. Here's who I think might be the right one. Or here's an area where you can go and find who the right one might be. That's what starting a business is all about today. Thank you for your time. We'll see you tomorrow.